front brake. Carburetor's been taken apart. We're gonna have to go in and fix that. We're gonna add a Thunderjet. A lot of oil under the bike. Looks like the transmission's leaking pretty good. A lot of oil on the frame here. Obviously missing some battery components. It's in rough shape, but not all that bad. Welcome everybody to another episode of Bill on Bikes. We're in my facility, Motorcycle Garage in Phoenix, Arizona. As the recording of this, it is June 8th, 2026, probably around 1 o'clock or so. We're already up to 100 degrees. I think we're gonna have a high today, probably 105 or so. Looking at 110 or maybe even a little hotter end of the week. So definitely getting hot here in Phoenix. Anyway, what do we have here? 2002 Harley-Davidson Dyna Wide Glide. It's kind of seen better days. It's got some issues going on. Obviously we don't have a front brake. Someone's been in here and has taken apart the S&S carb. Looks like we have a lot of transmission oil here under the bike. It looks to me like it's the clutch cable leaking from its rubbing on the case here, which is kind of common. I think I have a new cable in stock with these bars. Probably looking at around a 72-inch cable or so. I think I have one. Some battery box, the battery box cover and the top is missing. We'll see if we have that, or if I have one just sitting around here. Maybe I do, maybe I don't, not sure. Obviously it's a little rough, but guy doesn't want to spend a ton of money on it, but would like to get it going. I don't think it's been on the road for at least a couple of years, maybe 3. And I also know that the tank liner is peeling, so this is gonna have to come off, clean it all out, do my acid etch and all that, and reline the tank. One cool thing is I'm gonna try to put the tank in my new Gray Mills pressure washer after I loosen everything up inside there and see if I can really get in there with that nozzle and spray around. It's going to be a little more difficult where this isn't a fuel injection bike, so it's going to be hard to get in. I don't have that open canopy on the top, but we'll figure it out. Anyway, I want you guys to join me. Please like, subscribe, and I hope this video will be helpful. Maybe you want to get an older bike on the road, and you know, it takes a little bit of work to get these older bikes going, but you can pick them up at a decent price, and they're sure a lot of fun to ride. So let's get working. Before we get working, this thing is such a mess. I'm gonna get it down, take it outside, wash it really good, dry it off, and pop it back on the bench because it's such a mess. I don't like getting that dirty at this point in my life. So we'll clean this up first, and then we'll go from there. All right, let's get the fuel out of the tank, remove the fuel tank, and I guess I'll start on the liner. Well, that'll be the first thing I do, and then we'll go from there. Well, that battery's stone dead. That's not gonna work. Get a different battery. It looks like most of the fuel's out of this already. Well, that's good. All right, that was easy. All right, fuel tank is removed. Now I'm going to remove the S&S carburetor. I'm going to do a Thunderjet install. I've had some of you guys request what that looks like, so I'm going to show you the machining process and what it takes to redo an S&S or a G, install a third circuit, which is the Thunderjet. Phenomenal product, works great, turns a pretty good carburetor into a really great carburetor. I'm going to pull the exhaust, the rear exhaust pipe, and that'll give me access to the transmission side cover, so I can remove that. Let's get the clutch cable off, get the new one installed. We're gonna make our own brake line, so we'll do that in-house. And other than that, I can't think of anything for now, so let's get moving. Okay guys, when I was on the other side of the bike, we had a little recording issue, so let me recap what I was trying to show you there. Obviously we have a lot of fuel in the oil pan. I noticed the drain plug was finger tight, so removed it by hand, and it was maybe in there by 2 threads. Drained it, and there's a good quart of gasoline in the oil. So normally what I would like to do is run the bike ahead of, once I get this all back together, we run it and change the oil. I don't want to do that this time. What I'm going to do is, obviously we've drained it. I will put just a quart of oil in here, let it circulate, drain it again, probably put another quart in, do the same process over, and make sure I don't have any fuel in that system. So once that's all eliminated, then we'll go and do our oil change and we won't have any issues. I've had this happen many times. It's not that big of a deal. You just have to make sure you flush the oil tank and the engine properly so it doesn't become a big deal. If I was just to go and add oil to that and send them down the road, that'd be a big problem. So we, you know, because gasoline doesn't lubricate very well as far as engine components go. Anyway, we're moving right along. I'm still going to pull the side cover. We'll get the clutch cable changed. Hopefully that one that I have in stock is going to fit. I think it will, because these bars look to be about 12 inches to me, and it looks like we have a 2-inch riser here. So 14 inches, 70 to a 72-inch cable should work. So I do have one in stock. We'll see what happens. All right, let's move on to the next step. Thanks for watching, and I really appreciate you guys liking and subscribing. I don't know if I say that enough, but over 5,000 subscribers now. And one cool thing, I have new t-shirts finally being printed, 3 new designs, one dedicated to Bill on Bikes on YouTube. The other 2 are just shop shirts, but I think you're really gonna like them. And some of the Bill on Bikes t-shirts we'll do as a giveaway. So you guys keep the comments coming, and I'll just pick one and send it out. I don't know how to do that random thing. I might just close my eyes and point my finger. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm not that high tech when it comes to some of this interweb stuff. Anyway, let's go on to the next step here, and we'll see what happens. Also, guys, if you can see right here, this bolt is backed out, so we're probably losing some transmission fluid here also, not just from the cable rubbing up here where it's worn through. So that's another reason we had oil in this area. And I don't know if you noticed, but this snap ring went flying on me. That's why you always wear eye protection, because that actually happens more than you would think. So safety first. Yeah, this is just flopping around in here. Let's see if we have oil on the threads. Oh yeah, there's oil. There's quite a bit of oil here on the thread, so we're passing oil through there also. You can see there was not a lot of tranny oil in here, so most likely this bike's been sitting a long time, so it ended up on the floor. I haven't had it all that long here in the shop, so not 100% sure, but I would assume that between the clutch cable and here is where most of our oil went. Well, let's get the carburetor installed on the bike. I'm going to install our clutch cable, get the throttle cables hooked up, put a battery in it. I have to reline the fuel tank. Make sure you go and watch the actual machining of the Thunderjet, and I explain what it does. That's a separate video. And I'm not going to probably have a lot of commentary right now, so Moses, cue the music, and I'm going to get to work. You guys are probably wondering what I'm doing here. I'm using a protective spring that comes on other clutch cables. Sometimes, depending on the manufacturer, they'll come with this on here to protect the cable. Some of them don't, so I save the springs on old clutch cables and reuse them. They're a little bit of a pain to put on, takes a little bit of time. But now I won't have to worry about my customer having a worn clutch cable as it wears on the engine case, because you know they're going to touch in certain places. There's not much you can do about that. But that's what separates my work and my shop from other places. The average person is not going to go through this, but just something I do to help my customer, and you know it ends up working out, because I don't know, won't be back with a leaking clutch cable. Guys, you always want to make sure you install a new O-ring on the back of the carb and a new O-ring that goes into the insulator. This ring faces the intake, and obviously this O-ring will go on the opposite side of the insulator. And it's a lot easier to pre-install both cables. I always install the return cable first. Sometimes these can be a little difficult to get in place. There you go. Spring in position. One other thing you want to be very aware of, when you go to install your backing plate, you're going to see there's spacers here. Make sure the spacer is in the right position, because when you go to put the backing plate on, if it's not in the correct position, what will happen is it'll end up breaking the tab here. A lot of times guys don't have these shimmed right. You have to do that when you do the initial setup. And I see more of these backing plates just, you know, cracked, and that's the reason it wasn't installed correctly. It's Friday, June 12th, 2026. We're getting closer on this project. I relined the tank over the last couple days. It was in really bad shape. I mean, there was probably a 1/4 inch of rust sitting on the bottom of this tank. The liner was all peeling. I did my best to get everything out. These ones that don't have an access panel where the fuel injection would normally be, because this is obviously carbureted, it makes it really difficult to get everything out. You keep flushing and you do the best you can. Hopefully the liner is encapsulated. Anything maybe that got left in there that we couldn't get out, that is the purpose of the liner. It helps encapsulate any old rust or anything like that. We'll see what happens. If not, it'll be a prime candidate for a new tank, but I think it's going to be okay. Did have to put a new fuel valve in it. Also have the new fuel sending unit on the way from Harley, still available. Totally rotted away, so I had to get a new one. So we're gonna rebuild the brake line, or build a brake line. Put the battery in it, put the rear exhaust on. I should be able to put some fuel in it and give it a start, and then we'll start that flushing process. And if you notice, even on his dipstick, he's missing the little aluminum cap here, but I had a used one, so we'll pop that on for him. So we're getting really close. Hopefully have this running by the end of the day today, other than the float for the fuel tank, and I can always install that after, so I'll just put a 1/4 tank of fuel in here, and we'll be able to test it out. So let's get working, finish this up. All right, time to build our brake line. I like the build your own kit from Magnum, works great. You can get different color lines, black, kind of, you know, stainless. It's all coated so you won't damage anything, you know, like the paint or anything like that. If I can get that done today, we'll be able to get this wrapped up. As you can see, I have the 10mm 90-degree fitting in position on the caliper. Another thing I like to do is I put a cap here on the line, because these are very sharp, and when you're running the cable or whatever, if you hit the paint, you will scratch it up. So that's something, if you're gonna do this at home, something you wanna do is make sure you protect this. You could use tape if you didn't have a cap or whatever. I decided to run it up through the trees because I don't have anywhere to attach it to the lower or upper tree where you normally would. And then we're gonna run up through here. This top one is a 12mm 90-degree, which I have in position, but then I got a couple things I want to show you. I have a clamp here that's made by Joker Machine. This is the small clamp. They didn't make these for a long time. They brought them back. But we'll drill the bar here and we'll mount the cable right to the bar. That way you won't have some big ugly clamp that you see a lot of guys use, especially on like the Cholo bikes with the tall bars. They look horrible. And it'll hold the cable in position perfectly. And I don't have to use a black tie, because if you use a tie on here, they go up and down, they mar your chrome, or if you have a black finish, they take the finish off. So it takes a little more time. Not very easy to drill these, quite honestly, and using very small drill. I think it's like 5/30 seconds. Might even be smaller than that, but I've done enough of them. Take our time, and you gotta be careful not to damage the wires too that are running through the bars, but it can be done. See, one other thing I want to show you. I have this kind of a rubber coupling that you'll see that comes on some lines, and I will cut these and take these off the line if it's a bad line and I'm throwing it out. And then what I'm going to do is mount this up here in this clamp, and then move these 2 wires he has for his turn signals outside of the clamp, and then I'll just tie them, small ties around here, and then this will be holding the line in place. So I use the P-brain that God gave me, and I save stuff like this, and it usually works out. So let's get moving on this line and try to get it wrapped up. All right, guys, I had to drop the bike. Obviously, I can't use my jig to be able to tighten the fitting. I have to do it differently because Obviously, I'm running it through the middle of the tree. I wouldn't be able to get the fitting through. But I want to show you something really cool. This just showed up. Hopefully you can see this, the new Foresight full face helmet with the built-in camera. I've wanted one of those for a while. They're just, super expensive, but I want to be able to give you guys some better content at the end of the video when I go for a ride. And that Senna, honestly, it's a piece of crap. You have to do so many things with the camera, push the button, spin the dial. Half the time it doesn't hook up with the app. If someone calls you, it'll stop your recording. I mean, I'm just so frustrated with that. And that's why you always have music at the end, which I like the music, but I'd like to be able to give you a little commentary too, and I can't with that setup. I've changed the Harman Kardon microphone system out twice, didn't make a difference, so I'm done with Senna. Some people love them. I'm just very disappointed, and I would never, personally, I'd never buy another one. The camera's great, but the audio, just, I don't know. So this Foresight's supposed to be the helmet, so we'll see. Hopefully at the end of this video, I'll be able to get that working properly, and we'll see what happens. Stay tuned. Guys, other than the installation of the fuel sending unit, which won't be here till next week, I think we're ready to give this a start. We should be pretty much all set. I didn't show you, I had the front heat shield. I noticed when I was wiping it, it was moving around. All the clamps had broken, so I had to fix that last night. Anyway, it's going to take a little bit to get this going. The bowl's going to be dry. We'll choke it, and can't think of anything else. Let's see what happens. Let's see if this old girl wants to start. Not yet. Try no choke. Okay, well, took a little bit to get her running, but fired up. Now I'm going to drain that 1.5 quart of oil I put in there. Remember, we had a lot of fuel. It's probably down in the crank. We want to get all that out. I'm going to put another quart of oil in there after I drain it. We're going to run it again, drain that, put the permanent oil back in, and then I'll adjust the carburetor, and hopefully we should be ready to go for a test ride. And just to show you guys, definitely good that we're doing this the second time. This oil here is pretty thin. I can still smell some gas in it. It's not super strong, but it's in there. So we're going to flush it one more time, and then we should be good to go. All right, we should be able to drain that and put some new oil in it, and hopefully we'll be okay. And we're getting into the clean oil now. I can see that starting to drip into the pan. That's a good sign. I think just to be safe, I'm going to run another couple quarts through this. It is getting cleaner, but I still smell some gas. I want to get that out of there, so we'll run 2 more quarts through it. All right, let's give it another start. Hey, there goes the compressor. All right, now we're into some really clean oil. That's a good sign. I do notice he's blowing a little blue smoke here. Hopefully he hasn't gas washed his cylinder walls. I don't know, how much he was riding this around when he had issues. So the spike's been sitting for years. Maybe it'll clear up, I'm hoping. Yeah, this oil's nice and clean now. That's good. Just show you guys real quick how nice and clean the oil is now. So you can see nice and clean, no more fuel in there. Can't even smell it anymore, so that's a good sign. Torque that to 18 foot-pounds. All right, oil's in. Let's see if we can get this carb tuned. Might have to do a little road tuning, but here on the bench we'll get it close. All right, guys, there you have it. I think she runs pretty well. You'll see some residual smoke here. That's from all the chemicals and everything I use. You see how quick I can snap that throttle? That's how I can tune these S&S carbs with the Thunderjet installed. Try doing that with a stock S&S that hasn't been modified. Pretty difficult. Usually you get some stumble. I'm wicking that open as fast as I can. All right, guys, other than going for a test ride, our 2002 Dyna has been brought back to life. Hopefully I'm going to have a really happy customer. The seat has seen better days, an old Mustang seat, but you know, overall, an older bike, you can bring these back to life. They need some TLC. One of the issues is, over the years, and I'm going to be quite honest, a lot of hacks end up working on these bikes. They Mickey Mouse stuff. They hold things together with basically baling wire. I did the best I could, even with like his turn signals. Those aren't the greatest. The wiring on the other side should be tucked back into the frame when someone did the bars. They didn't tuck it properly. There's a rubber plug here in the back, which actually his is missing. Opens up the back of the fender where you can reach up into the frame and pull the wires back through. I would love to do that for him, but again, this is somewhat of a budget, and I already know we've gone over because just the amount of parts we had to use. And I've worked on this bike for, man, I probably have a good, few days labor in it. It's, I'm not gonna charge him all that, obviously. I think we're probably looking 15 hours or so, which will be more than fair. But it's just, you work on this older stuff, you keep finding things. I have things I didn't even film that I found. Obviously having to keep flushing out the oil. I noticed it is stopped, the smoking is stopped, which is great. I think I'll have a really happy customer, and hopefully he'll get to enjoy this bike for many, many miles. And I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this episode of Bill on Bikes. I'm hoping if I can get this Foresight helmet figured out, I'll be able to go for a test ride. I've requested a couple of emails trying to sign up with their app. For some reason, I'm not getting a response. I'm not sure what that is. The company's in Australia. And I didn't know this. Foresight was bought by GoPro. So GoPro owns Foresight now, which is interesting to me. Anyway, if I can get the email address and everything figured out, hopefully I'll get the helmet rolling and we'll go down the road and do a little bit of video. If not, this will be the end. Anyway, I appreciate all you guys watching. Please like, subscribe, tell your friends. We have over 5,000 subscribers now, which I think is fantastic. And we'll just keep bringing you good content. So until next time, ride safe. We'll see you later.